Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. I'm Amanda. Emily is still off to study for the bar exam, so today it's just going to be me again, continuing Vampire the Masquerade, Shadows of New York. So let's go back and pick up where we left off, just through the loyalty of the Camarilla into question. Let's see what the consequences are, if there are any. You have received your first trait. Some choices in the game will push Julia towards different ways of thinking, which will have a lasting effect on her throughout the story. You will see a brief pop-up on the top of the screen anytime you receive a new trait. You can always view any unlocked traits in the log screen, assessed through the top left icon. Loyal only to myself. Okay, I like that. That's kind of what I said I wanted to go for. I keep mentioning the character Beckett from Bloodlines, but that's because he's the only character that I thought, other than John DiMaggio's character, because John DiMaggio voiced one of the Anarchs. Yeah, he and Beckett were the only two people that I 100% trusted, but that's what you were warned about in Bloodlines anyway. But I thought Beckett always had like the good path, you know, to avoid politics. That's what I like that. I like that so far. Remember that ruthlessness is the mark of a true La Sombra, but you might walk another path before reaching that destination. Okay. So that's kind of what Karen wanted us to do, to be ruthless and to survive. That was our test, wasn't it? To make sure that we survived. Always told you you'd make it big. Get real. These assholes are just using me as a pawn in some stupid fourth-dimensional chess game. As opposed to just keeping you off the chessboard. Don't be a glass-half-empty buzzkill. Watch them make me a scapegoat or something. That would be exciting. I could write a book about living with a 21st century Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on, don't even joke like that. I haven't killed anyone. Julia, honey, neither did Oswald. Yeah, right. I keep forgetting. Stop wriggling or I'll mess your face up. Sorry. I'm always obedient when she's busy working on my makeup. It's hard to take care of your appearance, especially your face, when you can't even see yourself in the mirror. Not that I've ever been particularly good at it, but... Dakota doesn't seem to mind. I'm her goth dress-up doll. Her presence in my unlife is one of the few good things that my sire provided for me before fucking off to Chicago. Oh, so Karen was... okay. I don't like that, though. Normally, I'd be told to find myself a ghoul, but many of our clan, myself included, finds the idea of ghouls distasteful. We're cat people, not dog people. We don't want mindlessly faithful servants. We want companions who rely on us despite having, in theory anyway, the free will not to. Okay, so... Sorry, I just don't like that Karen suggested someone, or let her be with someone that she was friends with before. I don't trust that at all. The kind of relationship I have with Dakota would normally be a breach of the Masquerade's rules, right? But the rules are different for kindred who are Camarilla, adjacent, even losers like me. I still don't trust that. I feel like it's a manipulation tactic. Simplifying here, but my sire made it clear that her child would not own slaves. That was the end of the discussion. To be honest, I think the court mostly agreed to that request because they wanted one more thing to blackmail me with just in case. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think too. What would you do in my place? If I had to investigate your elite's wrongdoings? Yeah. I'd probably look for those rich fucks' pedophile rings. Look for the assholes who mention pizza suspiciously often. See who has powerful friends in Manhattan jails. Stuff like that. Oh, come on. Nah, I'm serious. Search for the deep rot, and a lot of smaller crimes will get solved in the process. What is it with you and conspiracy theories? What do you mean? You just told me your bosses are having eyes wide shut parties, and suddenly you don't believe in rich people's pedophile rings? I don't know. I don't know if I want to. My point is, you act as if all the conspiracy theories are real. Like you can't possibly believe all that shit. Half of it doesn't even make sense. Well, you want an interesting answer or a real one? Or a real answer? The real answer should be the more interesting one. She removes her brush from my face to gather her thoughts. Everyone's lost nowadays. Just look at the world. It's drowning in facts that fail to cohere into a single convincing narrative, or a story that resonates. The corporate media want you to believe in empirical thinking, but it always fails to deliver moral or metaphysical truths, and the people desperately lack those. So what do? They turn to conspiracists, and suddenly they are able to navigate the world. And why is that? Because conspiracy theories give them emotional truths that serve as a compass. Is Bill Gates trying to insert satanic microchips into my body? Probably not. I hope not. Now, is he a terrible person? No idea. But there's ample evidence that might be the case. It's in his ruthless business strategies, the company he used to keep, the philosophies he follows. People look at him and they feel he's fishy. So when the media present him as a genius or a savior, and I post that he wants to put the mark of the beast in my body, they choose to believe me. Because it makes moral, emotional, and metaphysical sense to them. And ultimately, that's what matters most. The end. Okay, I think I get it. No, I don't buy it, or, I think that's somewhat true, because people do try to, look for something that validates their own feelings. And their own mistrust of big data, I guess. I'll say, okay, I think I get it. I mean, I do understand what she's saying, and her point of view, so... Wow, I'm 99% sure this is complete bullshit, but I'm buying it. I mean, it totally misrepresents most conspiracy nut jobs I knew. But it's interesting and fun to think about, so I don't really give a damn if it's the truth. Yeah. See? That's the idea. You get it. You came up with this monologue yourself? Oh no, I read it on Facebook. Oh, figures. But just to make sure, vaccines are okay? Well, as far as I know, they don't cause autism. Good to hear. Anywho, I'm done. You're the best. Yeah, considering how many times I've done makeup on a dead body, I probably have enough job experience to be a mortician by now. Now that sounds like an exciting career, but in reality, it is probably the most boring thing under the sun. Yeah, I like my corpses talkative, pouty, and self-loathing. Shut up, this carcass will be leaving now, it's got a job to do. Go get him, Tiger. First thing I need to do, meet up with Kadir tonight and report to him. I hope he knows how to guide me out of this mess. He should have time for me in an hour or two. In the meantime, I suppose it's time to find some... What's the most dehumanizing word I could use here? Nourishment. Kadir told me I'd need to quench my hunger less often if I don't smoke. It kills you, he said. But to start killing itself, your organism must pretend it's alive, and that uses up precious vitae. But I love cigarettes, the way they smell, the way they burn, the hot ash falling from the top, the sound of the lighter. The way they kill you, of course. And I guess I need some tactile connection to who I was back when I was alive. Okay, New York City, guide my steps. Show me which one of your children I should drink up tonight. Diva's Delight, a fitting name for a kiss addict audacious enough to openly pitch her unique taste to those in the know. I'm not in a clubbing mood, but since I need to feed, might as well give that rumor a shot. A slap on the wrist? Samira is asking me to meet her. If not for the ongoing celebrations, the Patrician would prove an odd choice for a secret rendezvous. Here's hoping she can provide some useful insight into the case. Bunny as a reporter. The note left at my old dead drop point reads, Bunny as a reporter. Shit, could it be Woods? Long time no see. What does one do when the ghost of Christmas past knocks at the door? Okay. I think I may have time for one or two of these. I can't tell what the timer... I'm guessing that the moon and the sun dial, that's a kind of timer. I'm going to prioritize Samira just because it's going to be talking about the case, and I'd rather have more information about that. So I'm going to go see this one first. A clean-cut staff member dressed in an impeccable company uniform smiles at me as the elevator door opens. Good evening, ma'am. Meeting someone? I dismiss his question with an apathetic shrug. He sizes me up for a brief moment, visibly questioning my fashion sense. However, his professional acumen quickly trumps his discontent. Yes, very well. This way, please. NYC's nouveau rich seem awfully starving for a gourmet soup this late at night. The Patrician is packed almost to the brim. The concierge points me over to the last vacant table, conveniently situated in the far-off corner of the main hall. I nestled in the chair, letting my elbows rest on the ornate tablecloth. Watch out, oblivious white collars. There's a black widow in your midst. Well, I'm here. Might as well just kick back and die of boredom. Yeah. I really, really need something to occupy my mind. Let concierge figure out why Samir asked you to come, have a smoke and examine the place. I'm not going to smoke. I'm going to try to figure out why Samira asked me to come. As I'm waiting, I rack my brain for any idea why the Banu Hakim Primogen wanted me here tonight instead of out there working my case. The obvious possibility, and the one I'm counting on, is that she has some sort of lead she wasn't comfortable sharing at Elysium. I'm almost certain that's a false hope, though. This whole investigation still feels like a joke being told at my expense. While I'm trying to figure out how I feel about this, somebody finally takes notice of me. The concierge quickly closes in on me, dancing habitually between tables, and addresses me before I can even utter a single word. Excuse me, ma'am, are you Miss Swinsky by chance? As soon as I nod, he hands me a carefully folded memo and leaves. The note reads, The manager of this establishment insulted the Camarillas' authority with his negligence. Even though it's minor, his transgression must be penalized. I would like you to assist me in this matter. Such a display of goodwill on your part would surely improve your standing with the higher-ups. Choose an appropriate, non-lethal punishment. S. Well, this is disappointing. It was a high order to expect any help with the investigation, I guess. Instead, just another chore. The best I can hope for is that this really is just a friendly request, and not a deliberate attempt to derail my work this early in the game. Damn it. Might as well get it done since I'm already here, so I can move on with more pressing stuff. I swiftly approach the manager and tap him on the shoulder. He furrows his brow as soon as he notices me. I'm afraid I'm busy. One of the waiting staff should be able to... We have something to discuss. The VIP lounge. Now, if you please. His face loses color. Maybe it has dawned on him that I'm even paler than the other, more blue-blooded guests. He immediately becomes compliant as I escort him through the side door. The room isn't empty, but its guests are just leaving. Nobody pays me any attention. The manager is as polite as he can be as he sees the patrons out, but I can see he's clearly losing his shit. He quietly asks one of his staff to give him 5 minutes in the lounge and gingerly closes the doors behind him. Then the pleading starts. Listen, I know I screwed up. I shouldn't have let him in. How could I know he's not one of the proper clients? I don't give a... Listen. Hey! I would never. I implore you. I have children, for Christ's sake. There must be something, an arrangement, a way to... He just goes on as if I'm not even here. With each subsequent whimper, it becomes more and more irritating. I'm gonna lash out because I think I want to scare him. Because that's the whole point, you know, just to make sure that what he did wasn't okay. He knows what he did wasn't okay. I've had enough of this bullshit. I grab him by the back of his head and smash it down onto the bar, then throw him onto the small but stout coffee table nearby. I take out a soup ladle from the fancy kettle it was served in and just smack the guy around. It doesn't look nice, and lasts way longer than it needs to. With every hit, his whimpers go quieter. I only come to my senses once he chokes on a sob. I look down at him just laying there and wheezing after the unjust thrashing. I throw away the bloodied utensil and get out of there as fast as I can. Okay, that was... I don't really know what happened to me back there. I acted on instinct. Karen warned me that something in our bloodline finds sniveling weaklings detestable. Is that what triggered me? Well, this is something to worry about in the future, but no use dwelling on it for now. I did what I was asked, and I've sure as hell wasted enough time here. That's all, folks. Yeah, that was a bit too far. I would have kind of expected her to maybe just yell at him, but now I know what'll happen if I try to take a more angered route. Alright, so let's take a look at Bunny as a reporter. Honestly, sweeping through Evergreen Cemetery in search of Nigel Woods was the last thing I expected to be doing tonight. And yet here I am. The past refuses to let me out of its grip, even for a few days. Hell, a black limo almost ran me over on my way here. I just can't get a break, can I? It takes me less than a minute to find Nigel. He's standing next to the gravestone of John Bunny, one of the most famous actors of the 1910s. Why there, exactly? Well, the man is paranoid, which is why we were forced to come up with such an unpredictable method of choosing rendezvous points. It had to be ambiguous enough to seem incidental to a casual onlooker, but reasonably uncomplicated so that this dumbass couldn't mess it up. So we decided on silent film actors. Whenever he wanted to meet, he left me a note with an obscure movie title. Then I only had to look up who starred in it and make my way to their final resting place. Yeah, maybe it feels somewhat goofy and unnecessary, but it's also been fun. And ridiculing Woods for his paranoia would be a classic case of the pot calling the kettle black. There he is, idling away his time on his smartphone, rapidly swiping left with noticeably increasing frustration. Too many girls who actually know what they want from life in a row, Nigel? Don't worry, I'm definitely not that type. When he sees me, he reacts as if he's just seen a ghost, a regular comedian. The man halts a few feet away from me and crosses his arms, giving me a dirty look. What the hell are you up to these days, Sawinski? Too busy for your old pal? You never write, you never call? He puts this completely unconvincing frown, but quickly loses it, bursting into sincere laughter. I'm starting to think this was a mistake and not upholding the Masquerade. Maybe probably have to make something I don't want to do, but I gotta uphold the Masquerade. Shit, Jules. Not gonna lie, it's good to see you. Looking good, gal. I mean, you're still all doom and gloom and even paler than usual, but I always had a soft spot for your bony ass. Come here, give your uncle a hug. No. I'm not gonna do that. Warn him, slap his face. I'm just gonna give him the look. I've worked with Nigel long enough for us to settle on some basic nonverbal signals for improved communication, by which I mean signaling him to get his shit together. I am surprised to find that it's still an instinctual thing, as if my mortal body adapted to it so well in the past that it reacts the same way it did, even now that it's dead. Alright, I get it. To think we used to... Cut to the chase, Woods. This wasn't a social invitation, and I have only so much patience for your innuendos. What do you want? Still quick to get right to the point, huh? Very well. I've been trying to put together a piece on some particularly unseemly business in the deep web. One of my plugs pointed me in the direction of Double Spiral, saying that... Double Spiral. Am I even surprised that name keeps coming up again and again? It still kind of haunts me. Of course, I made sure it would. I still keep tabs on Montgomery from time to time, constantly reliving those 16 months I slaved away for nothing. It might have been just another part of Karen's hazing ritual, but I have a feeling that even if that wasn't the case, Brian would still be told to kill the story. Some dirt on this internet whiz goes by the name of Hope, She supposedly had some close dealings with the Montgomery clan. Ever heard of her? Not an expert on the concept. Can't say I'm familiar with the person in question either. I'm lying, of course, feigning apathy. The name strikes a chord, being one of the 4 jotted down on Callahan's list. Ooh, coincidence? Kadir insisted I shouldn't believe in these. As far as I can tell, she's mostly involved in some kinky porno stuff involving scopophilia, body maiming, lots of blood. Shit's borderline occult. My cover's blown, though. I think someone's after me. Still, I've got a few useful leads, which I'd happily exchange for some Benjamins before I go AWOL. Interested? Knowing him, those few leads are completely worthless. But with his luck, he really might have strayed into some dangerous waters. What's useless to him might prove useful to me. If I play along, he won't even know I'm no longer in this line of work. Do you expect me to buy your intel sight unseen? No dice, Nigel. Break it down for me. I won't screw you over. You know me better than that. He sighs audibly, sizing me up and down. After a brief moment, he raises his voice again. What do you want to know? Just tell me about Hope, everything. How did you get this info? Okay, Hope is one of the names on the list. So I think I'm going to focus on that. If I say everything, he's probably going to be like, no way, and give me some money or whatever. And how he got it, I don't know. I feel like I'll just focus on Hope. So what about that Hope girl? Got something worth pursuing? Maybe. She's an enigma, a total fucking mystery. The only thing I'm certain of is she exists and enjoys streaming for an exclusive audience. Supposedly, she's into cryptocurrencies. You know, those bitcoins things. I could never make any sense of it. It's a scramble, I know, but I promise you that somewhere within lies a juicy story for someone like you to pursue. Hell, I have a hunch that if we join forces, we might really hit it big this time. Thoughts? This poor idiot. This intel of his sounds like a cheap pulp novel. No one in their right mind is going to pay a dime for it. It'll ruin his credibility if he still has any. If he persists on spreading this bullshit, it will probably completely neuter his ability to harm us, eventually. But if the Ivory Tower gets wind of his activities, Kadir is going to get involved. He's going to ask questions, and the answer will get both me and Nigel in trouble. You're awfully quiet, Jules. Speak up, you're creeping me out. I'm going to rewrite his memories just because I don't want this coming back, and I need to uphold the Masquerade. I have what I need to know. I'm sorry, Nigel. Just a bit, but still. What? He freezes in place as I gaze into his eyes. There is no blood trafficking or secret turf wars going on in New York City. You have nothing on Double Spiral, and there is no hope. You made all of it up. The idea you have instead is a non-fiction book about toxic masculinity. You're going to do your research and you're going to pitch the book to everyone as a real expert on the subject. He stands there completely perplexed, suppressing layers of rewritten memories. With his mouth wide open, stuck in a bizarre pose, he looks like a total goofball. I can't help but snort. John Bunny wouldn't compare, especially if our guy really follows his programming and a comedy of errors ensues. He's going to recover in a couple minutes, but I'm not sticking around. This trick has taken its toll on me. I can only keep my fingers crossed that it sticks. Best to bury the memory of this meeting along with the rest of my past. Alright, it's about time I head to see Kadir. Mighty kind of him to arrange a meeting in the place that's most convenient for me. D'Angelo, Hope, Tamika, Agathon. I suppose that's better than nothing. But no evidence? Really? Honestly, it felt as if someone had already cleaned up the most egregious stuff before I arrived. Sounds like the Anarchs. I'll definitely try and check that place again, but I'd feel I'd need some sort of expert to accompany me. An advanced investigator who would show me the ropes. Someone tall and handsome, maybe? Yeah, if you don't mind a diplomatic incident, I'll go with you. Any better ideas? Actually, this very note gave me one. But I will need to set it up first. I will get back to you about that. You know these people? I've had passing contact with each of them. Part and parcel of the job, you know. I suppose. Can you help me out with this? The way I'd tackle it would be, look at one person on the list every night, ask around about them, and see what they'd know if you do manage to meet them. If I manage to meet them, they're not particularly easy to get a hold of. I always prefer to be a little off the grid, but nowadays they're all practically in hiding, if not MIA or dead. Funny coincidence? It's not my job to speculate. In other words, he knows something, but it is not at liberty to say. Guess I'll find out anyway, if I do meet them. And why one night each? Shouldn't I investigate every loose thread until we're satisfied? In a perfect world, you'd have all the time you needed, but this is not a perfect world. We'll try to brute force a solution to the case as soon as possible. I suspect that 4 nights from now, once the celebrations of power are over, they'll ask for your findings, and that will be all. Fucked up. To be brutally honest, my focus wouldn't be on solving the murder. Instead, I'd focus on not embarrassing yourself. Fucked up. This is part of why I didn't want you to get involved. You couldn't possibly think Arturo had you involved out of the goodness of his heart. The entirety of your investigation is just for show. You are meant to be an unwitting actor. I like Kadir. He's blunt, but I do like him a lot. Maybe I really should just call Mia and be like, you know what, fuck those condescending ivory tower clowns. I want to work with you. But then again, if I was with the Anarchs, they'd probably delegate even shittier tasks to me. If, and that's a really big if, they didn't think I was some kind of inside agent in the first place. Better stick to Camarilla, but if they're hell-bent on stabbing me in the back at every opportunity, maybe it's time to think about how I can replay the favor. Play dirty, no matter what Kadir thinks of it. After all, from where I'm standing now, there's no other way but up. A penny for your thoughts? I take a drag from my cigarette. That's just the Camarilla, and whatever. I'll say that's just the Camarilla. After the last few months of hazing, I didn't expect a random act of kindness. This kind of bullshit is, well, just how the Camarilla works, isn't it? More often than it's necessary, I'd say. But this time, it's a risky play. In my experience, if one simply displays some cunning, they can unexpectedly turn a situation like this to their advantage. The court. Part of the court assumes you're unable to surprise them in this regard. But if you do, by the end of this investigation, you might as well pull yourself out of the ditch you're in. That would be a night to remember. So, where should I go first? You should go with me. As it happens, I'm only out here because I was ordered to drive Aisling, I think it's pronounced Aisling, to the art hole. And guess the name of her protege. Oh, so that's who Agathon is? Or was. Nobody knows. It's a complicated thing. You'll see. I'm on the clock, so let's get a move on. Work your magic, fairy godmother. Still not done with this bit? Not while it's still bothering you. I'm leaving you behind if you don't keep up. As I already told Kadir, and numerous times at that, I have no idea what happened with Agathon. The Broadway Chantry, part of the Chantry of the 5 boroughs, is Aisling's usual hangout place these past few nights. She's in a hurry and not willing to talk. Do you have any idea about his connection to Kindred, going by the names of Tamika, D'Angelo, and Hope? I don't. I made it a point to keep our relationship strictly professional, a strictly professional one, and never meddle in his personal affairs, unless they influenced our work, that is. But it only happened one time. Ah yes, the infamous Juno case. Are there any signs he's leaving? Is there any conflict between you two? She probably wouldn't answer if there was any conflict, or she'd lie. Any signs, she'd probably say no, so I'll ask about Juno. Could that Juno case be the reason he's missing? I seriously doubt it for many reasons. I think the boy's lost his appetite for studying blood magic and set out to do a little soul searching. It was quite rude of him not to give me a proper warning before he departed. Still, this line of work is not particularly favored by folks with a perfect grasp of savoir-vivre. I do hope his search will bring him back right where he started, begging me to take him back in. The boy is talented, and I did put a lot of time into mentoring him. If he doesn't, well, que sera sera. No skin off my back. So you won't even entertain a possibility that he found himself in harm's way. I know an answer to that one. A researcher's mindset. She doesn't think it's worth considering the worst-case scenario seriously and just takes things as they come. Precisely. If, for example, climate change scientists didn't operate this way, most would have put a bullet in their own head long ago. That's a cheery thought. I'd like to search the Chantry for Agathon's whereabouts. Our good sheriff already did that long ago. You'd just be wasting your time, and ours for that matter. Didn't you say Helen was waiting for us, Kadir? Give the girl 15 minutes, Aisling. A minimal support for an ongoing investigation. And besides, she has a proclivity for finding things everyone else has overlooked. 10 minutes. And if you attempt to pass this door, or that one up there, I can't guarantee you'll walk out of here alive. Thank you very much, High Regent. Just get on with it. My time here is practically up, and I found nothing of use. It seems Agathon was completely dedicated to his work. Even his personal quarters are as barren as it gets. No personal touch whatsoever. Nothing I could go by. It's all research, research, research. He seems like such a bore. Focus, Julia. What would you do if you were a Warlock workaholic? Where would you leave clues to your whereabouts? What would you do if you found yourself in mortal danger and wanted Dakota to know? It's loose. Was that? Oh, there's someone in the back? Do you see the shadow in the back? Well, it went away now, but... yeah. It was facing this way, huh? I approached the place where I saw the shadowy silhouette appear. It's a brick wall, and one of those bricks is loose. Yeah, there it is, right by the drawings in the very back. Kadir and Aisling are in another room right now, still discussing the party. It's not that bad. You ought to learn how to find humor in the little things. It's demeaning, Sheriff. That's all there is to it. It's time. I work the brick loose until I can grip it. Then I tug it as silently as possible, revealing a hole in the wall. Inside, there's a book. I browse through it quickly. Agathon's diary. That's a bingo. Your 10 minutes are up. So are your 15 minutes, in fact. Are you done here? If I could get just 5 more minutes, I feel like I could stumble upon something here if I just look a little more. No way, Julia. Time to go. Fine. I put the brick back and take the diary with me. It did look like Agathon left it so that someone in the Chantry could find it, presumably the High Regent. But my investigation takes priority for now. I bid Kadir and Aisling adieu and start looking for a secluded place to read the diary. This place right here should be secluded enough for me to browse through the diary in peace. I start quickly skimming the book, signaling out sentences and paragraphs that look interesting, trying to get a general idea of what kind of person Agathon was. Or is, I hope. The more I read, the clearer the image of the person becomes. He's been working under the High Regent for 15 years. There's an underlying shame in the way he talks about Tremere magic. He always describes himself as too slow in the uptake, too late to learn something, too much of an amateur. He was really into tying his self-worth to his wisdom. The entries, beginning in 2012, are terrifyingly regular. The handwriting is extraordinarily neat. The author's absolute dedication to his studies is palpable. If there's anything to his life besides work, it's his relationships with 3 important women he holds dear. The first is his master, Aisling Sturbridge, whom he reveres for her knowledge, stoicism, and willingness to experiment. I was hoping to find some details about her secretive work here, but no dice. Looks like he was willing to risk someone finding all about all about his inner life, but not anything that could harm her studies. A good pupil, serving a good mentor. I'm jealous. The second is another Warlock, his ex-lover, Juno, whom he feels guilty about. They had a conflict in which Aisling was involved. Having to choose between the two, he chose Aisling. According to Agathon, there was never real love between him and Juno. First it was just shared interests, then a growing disconnect, and then ultimately guilt, which made him feel responsible for her. But maybe it's just excuses? He strikes me as the kind of person who spends most of his time inside his head. Doesn't sound like someone you could have a fulfilling romance with. One time in high school, don't dwell on it. I'm gonna think about Dakota, because I think she sees Dakota, like her and Dakota's relationship with him and Juno. So that's my suspicion. So I'm gonna pick that one. One day Dakota might realize this. Anyway, last but not least, Agathon's mortal grandmother, Sylvia. She is the light of his life and the person who took care of him after his parents died in a ritual murder. Not quite what I expected. Her family used to serve a cruel vampire in Mexico City, and it was retribution for their escape. She was the lead Tremere who used to track him down, actually. He was keeping her alive for a long time, but a few months ago her heart gave up. Agathon blamed his insufficient skills, the kind of man who carries the entire world on his shoulders. Left alone with Aisling, he drowned himself in work and eventually burned out. But it doesn't sound like Sylvia's death was the only event that triggered his depression spiral. There was some kind of incident back in 2019. He doesn't cite specifics. Another thing he was worried about writing down? It's all vague mentions of a person who made him fly too close to the sun. Whatever happened, it had the same effect as his grandma's death. New York stopped feeling like a home to him. It became alien, empty, grotesque, his words. I checked the first page. There's a recent photograph of him glued to the inner side of the cover. He's facing away from the camera, only showing his profile, and striking a rather dramatic pose. At first, it looks kind of poserish to me. However, upon closer inspection, it seems like a goodbye photo, the final melancholic glance he throws in your direction before disappearing for good. There's also a single black feather, no idea what it means. Something's written next to the paragraph with a lot of flourish. It looks like a poem? More than annoyed. Sad. More than sad, unhappy. More than unhappy, suffering. More than suffering, abandoned. More than abandoned, alone in the world. More than alone, exiled. More than exiled, dead. More than dead, forgotten. The Sedative, 1917, by Marie Laurencin. Looks like he wrote it down recently. It might have resonated with his emotional state over the past few months. Most importantly, it seems to confirm his intent with this diary to me. The general idea seems to be his research will outlive him, so he doesn't even detail it. Still, he wanted some kind of tangible memory of who he was left for posterity. But that's not all. There's still a mystery to be solved. Quite a few of the pages toward the end are missing, but it doesn't look like they were necessarily removed to redact information. They were torn off in a way that makes it clear the paper wasn't ever used. What's more, the preceding pages are empty as well. Could it be that... That's when it happens again. I notice a bizarre shape in my peripheral vision. Bleed. I turn to catch a glimpse as fast as possible, but it's already gone. If my heart could beat faster, it would be jumping out of my chest. It's discomforting. I've been seeing these apparitions ever since I turned into this. The worst part is, I feel they were always there, even as a mortal. They were there sometimes in the corner of my eye, disappearing when I tried to look directly at them, making me think it was just my mind playing tricks on me. when you're part of the Night Clan, there are times that they don't disappear. There are times they talk. There are times they try to force you to do their bidding. And worst of all... No, I don't want to think about it right now. Still, in my experience, they aren't exactly, I don't know, consciously malevolent. This one in particular was trying to help. I open the book on the first empty page and look around to make sure nobody is staring. Then I cut myself using a razor I keep in my pocket just in case. It's not a deep slice. I just want to let a droplet of vitae fall onto the page. That's when the letters appear. Look at me, a clown. No longer confident that any of my people can be trusted. I turn to a cameraless spick at that. Reserved contempt. What are you for, boy? Laugh at me. Ridicule is all I deserve? Come on, don't just stand there like an idiot. You want to say something, say it. What the hell? Also, part of me is thinking back about Sophie Langley and what Benoit said, how she wouldn't return as herself. This is the last thing I expected to happen. This diary is haunted. A series of quickly changing sentences and images, composed of shadows and blood, give me a window into another reality. It's not an objective view, it's like scattered remnants of emotions, similar to a half-remembered dream, full of holes, but an honest expression of one's mind. Might it be interacting with me? It's just a hypothesis, but I don't know what else it would show me. I don't know why else it would show me Callahan. And was that Ellis Island? Right. This time I don't even look in its direction. The voice makes me feel oddly confident about what I need to do. I pick up the feather that was in the diary and dip it with my vitae. Then I write down... passion, confusion, contempt. Is this something I'm supposed to say to Agathon? Well, if it's either Agathon or the Baron, both of them are feeling shame about something. So maybe if I say compassion, that'll give some kind of reaction. Let's try compassion. You may call me whatever names you want. I will still pity you, old man. Well, ain't that mighty grand of you? I see what you are. In some ways, compassion from the likes of me is probably the worst gift you could get. Feeling of having hit the jackpot. It doesn't feel like this is the way the events took place. It's more like a way to explore Agathon's emotional truth about the way it all unfolded. In any case, the diary is reacting to me. And some shade of the truth is better than nothing. It's a handy tool, and if I use it right, I might find some clues that could aid me in my investigation. There are a few thoughts floating around in my head, like alien entities trying to make their way out. Is that also an effect of the diary's power? Let's try... I don't know, let's try Destiny. Because Agathon seemed to be more concerned with what would happen after he died, I guess. Or at least he was aware of his place in the world and how his work would outlive him. So I'm going to say Destiny. I'm curious, what is the destiny you see in front of you? There are two paths I see laid out in front of me. The first one is freedom, bought with a horrible price. The second one is utter and complete debasement. But you haven't decided on one of those paths yet. No, but I'm afraid that choice might have already been made for me. God damn it, what are the two of you talking about? Why did you meet? Dura explain Ellis Island. I don't want to do endure because I feel like that's not going to go anywhere. Explain feels like an obvious choice, but I also feel like Ellis Island isn't gonna... But why were they meeting on Ellis Island in the first place? I'm gonna say Ellis Island. Why did you pick this place to meet anyway? It's secluded, and there's something in the air here that makes all the blood magic go haywire, which is especially important. Because of me? You're still afraid I might be part of the experiment? No, because of that devil woman. Blood running cold. All the scribblings disappear and another set starts taking their place. The diary conjures an image of a completely different place. I instantly get a feeling of déjà vu. I process the space differently. The atmosphere is different, more familiar, homely. But this is unmistakably the Tremere Chantry I visited earlier tonight. And standing there is just the person I'd expect. Looks like that's it for my meeting with Callahan. God damn it. What if the person he was talking about and eliciting a strong emotional reaction from was Aisling? The diary awaits my next command. Why, when, who? I'm gonna say why. High Regent. Why? Why? You can't be serious. These experiments need resources, and I wouldn't be able to provide all the needed materials in a reasonable time frame all by myself. It's quid pro quo, and it's not like my research isn't helping all kindred I can't tell what that word is. Run. I don't feel comfortable being part of this at all. I always thought we were busy with science, not politics. These are the words of a child, Agathon. Science has always relied on politics, and politics on science. Not like this, High Regent. Don't embarrass me, Agathon. Not like this. The moving scribblings disappear again. I hastily let another drop of blood fall on the page. What appears this time is yet another familiar face. Ah yes, Agathon. What is it that you wanted to tell me? Fuck you, go to hell, you goddamn rat. I'm gonna say you goddamn rat because I feel like that doesn't have as much finality to it as fuck you and go to hell. Like the top two are words that you say when you're about to walk away from someone, right? You goddamned rat. I beg your pardon. The harpy vanishes. Yeah, right, as if I could ever gather courage to say this to your face. The least I can do is try to stab you in the back. The diary ends here. I spill a little more vitae on the page, but it no longer works. I suppose that's it. Still no idea what happened to Agathon. Is he alive, or is he dead? What do I think? Agatha knew that he was going to disappear, that much is certain. If he knew it was coming, or he knew someone was coming for him, he could either have accepted his fate, or he could have gone into hiding, hoping someone would follow after it. My thought is that I think he's alive, just because I think he was hoping someone would follow in his footsteps. If nothing else, he thought that he could hide this information long enough for someone to come after him and find out more. So I'm going to say he's alive. Maybe Dakota is right. I've been a glass half empty buzzkill too often. I will brace for the worst, but hope for the best. Okay, good. The way he left his diary for someone to carry on his work, the hints he strategically left inside it, he's got this all planned out, no doubt about it. Yeah, I agree. I choose to believe I will see him again one night. Maybe I'll even compliment that jacket he has. Yeah, he does. He does look like he has a pretty cool jacket. Okay, let's take a look at this trait that I have. Glass half full. Okay, good. In any case, I think it's time to pay a visit to the art hole. I know Arturo tends to leave the Elysium quite often to take in some fresh air and message people on his BlackBerry, so I'll just wait until I see him. Ew, he still uses a BlackBerry. The tactic works. He's surprised to see me. Miss Sawinski, shouldn't you be busy with your investigation? Why is he still dressed up? Oh, they're still partying, I guess. I am, actually, which is why I've come to see you. That's peculiar, because I'm absolutely sure I have nothing to do with this case. Aren't you barking up the wrong tree? That's what I'm here to find out. I assumed you'd want to see I'm thorough. Yes, sure, I suppose it's commendable. What is it, then? I have reasons to believe that in the last few months, you, the High Reason Aisling Sturbridge, and her child Agathon were involved in a secret scheme. His expression changes ever so imperceptibly, but the difference is palpable to me. For the first time ever, he looks at me as a person. Up until now, I was just an amusing diversion. Now I'm something more, and he doesn't like it. What gave you this idea? I'm not at liberty to say. If you really want to know, ask the sheriff. Of course, Kadir doesn't know anything, but he's the only one in the court that Arturo has repeatedly failed to influence. He'll think twice before approaching him. I fail to see how this matter relates to the task at hand. I have every reason to think Baron Callahan was involved, and he might have grounds to fear for his life because of said scheme. He's tense now. Do I have the upper hand? Miss Sawinski, please answer the question. The delicate matter you are speaking of has absolutely nothing to do with Baron Callahan's grim fate. It's a strictly confidential affair. It would be wise of you to stop pursuing it. It would be wise of you to fuck off. I can't be an investigator if I'm not allowed to properly investigate. This matter is unrelated to your work and should be treated as such. I'm 100% convinced Prince Panhard would agree. If you insist on pursuing it further, we can take it up to the prince and see if her stance differs from mine. But I think you aren't as naive as to waste her time this way, and besides, she'd certainly want you to present the basis for your discovery to the court. Could you handle that? I'm not going to try to stumble. So I'm not going to say or maybe if I'm going to say I. I have no response. God damn it, this is his revenge for invoking Kadir, isn't it? I thought so. Is the High Regent inside? She is, but don't worry, I'll make sure to tell her not to waste your precious time, Miss Sawinski. So that's how you're gonna play it, you bastard. Well, I guess you win this round. A strategic retreat is my only choice here. I don't have a full deck of cards yet, but just you wait. In a few nights, I'll take my leave then. Yes, do that. And if I may be so blunt, focus on the investigation avenues that aren't utterly imbecilic and suicidal to pursue, miss. I bid you adieu. I curse him under my breath as he disappears inside the art hole. Guess this avenue really is cut off for me, at least for now. 3 names left on the list. I still have some leads to go by, but for now, It's getting late. I should go to St. Patrick's and file my latest report. When I reach the cathedral, Father Leonard is already there. He's not exactly the most punctual person, so I always feel relieved to see him from afar. Time to move in and move out before I'm noticed by Benoit. Will this be all? I guess so. I rattled off most of it in a hurry on the way here. I'll come up with a more exhaustive report tomorrow night. Busy? Looks that way, Father. Our wayward girl has finally been recognized by her superiors. Here we go again. Of course he had to sneak up on me. If even you heard about that, I guess that means every single kindred in the 5 boroughs knows. I know you're an expert when it comes to knowing who's saying what and where, but the last time we met, you promised to share that knowledge with me. Yeah, I was kind of lying. That's the 9th commandment broken, Father. Shouldn't you scold her? Don't involve me in your silly games, Benoit. The way you fall for obvious lies stems from your biggest failing in communication. And that is? You only pay attention to the what that's being said, and not the how. That's... Booyah, motherfucker, suck it. Annihilated with an absolutely flawless diagnosis. Child, don't make me regret siding with you. I'm sorry, Father. Won't happen again. Especially if you promise to keep verbally destroying that clown. You're in a strange mood tonight, child. Go get some sleep. Yes, we'll continue this tomorrow. I'm not showing up here tomorrow. Yes, you are. Stop breaking the 9th commandment. See you around, Julia. He says my name in a sickly sweet way that gives me the creeps. I bow to Father Leonard, do my best to ignore Benoit, and head for Dakota's place. Finally, my haven. Hey. Hey. Another tough night? You don't know the half of it. You want a drink? She points to her neck. I manage to summon a faint smile. I'd love to, but you know we can't do this too often. Maybe tomorrow. You want to talk then? Yeah, guess so. Just not about work, okay? I sit down next to her. Not about work, got it. What's on your mind then? The past, I guess. Meaning? How spotty our memories are, and how, despite that, that's what we build our convictions on. Sorry it's so banal. I'm just tired and frustrated. Well, let's talk about something more specific then. What do you remember about the time we first met? The time we first met? Yeah. Shit, not a lot actually. Those were gloomy, anxious days. I think I subconsciously replaced most of them with blank spaces. I remember you trying to paint your hair black. Ouch, don't dig up my trauma now, okay? I remember that when we first talked, we talked about Hausu. Don't say Hausu. It's low-key racist, I think. Nobody ever knows what you mean by house. Ah, that show with the asshole doctor? No, the Japanese haunted house horror film that feels like it was written by a 7-year-old with ADHD. Oh, I know which one she's talking about. Dead Meat did I think this is the one that Dead Meat did either a podcast or an episode on. I'll link it somewhere in this one. In the best way. In the best way, duh. We were arguing which characters from the movie both of us are. You were Kung Fu, and I ended up as Prof, which was rude. You're dressed up like a total nerd. Not my fault. What was the deal with that suit? I liked that suit. Yeah, it was okay. I remember helping you out with graphic design whenever you needed it. Funny, I remember you needing help with writing as something that tended to happen far more often. Yeah, we developed a fun shared aesthetic with similar surface concerns, and it bonded us together even before we made sure we were fully compatible deep down as human beings. Hell, I'm still not sure we are, especially now with me not being a human being anymore. But hey, at least we both agree that this bedroom feels super comfy. I remember always feeling left out of your social circles. Always knocking at the door from the outside. Oh, forget it. My social circles were full of out-of-touch, snobby assholes. Yeah, but it felt weird how much they avoided me. And there was that one time with Isabella. All of a sudden, one thing Isabella said at one party flashes in my mind with startling clarity. After midnight, in that kitchen without context, she just walked up to me and... She will isolate you, she will suck you dry, and she'll move on to the next target. That's the only thing she knows. Ugh, don't remind me of Isabella. She always resented me. It's been so long and it's all baseless conjecture now, but what if she really did isolate me on purpose back then? Nah, the glass is half full. Past is Schrodinger's cat and all that. Better to believe in the positive version of events. Come to think of it, friend or foe, if you don't believe they're on your side, they will know it one way or the other, and then it's 100% certain they won't be on your side. Maybe optimism really is the way. Yeah, forget Isabella. Let's just drop this talk. I'm frustrated enough. I need a reset. Sounds like a good idea. Off to sleep? Yeah, gotta get ready to go back to hell tomorrow. Alright, I'll get back to work. You're working remotely again? Yeah, my office is going insane for so many reasons, and I'm getting cabin fever too. Get some sun. It will be good for you. Look who's talking. Good night, sunshine. Good night. Alright. So, I'm going to end this video here. But what do you think? Do you think optimism really is the best thing? I certainly think Agathon, like, finding that was very interesting. I do like his jacket a lot. I want that. But yeah, let's see how the plot thickens. If you'd like this video, feel free to give us a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button down below. But for now, I'm Amanda, this is Amadem, and we will see you guys in the next video. Bye!